You are now tuned into Blueprint Radio.
The Lloyd Banks came out as well.
Yeah,
on the 31st. So I'll say my take first in regards to it.
Go ahead, man.
I liked it. I feel, for him to continue rapping at a high level, I appreciate it. We've always said and been documented in saying that hip hop has grown up and it's in a different lane now, and now multiple lanes, which it should be in. So you have, artists like Lloyd Banks are able to have his core audience and fringe fans, to go check Lloyd Banks out, and he can still have a career like they do in other genres as you start to get older. So I'm loving the quality of project. The one thing I'll say to that project, and this was a Halloween Havoc 5, I feel like sonically and audio-wise, it was a lot clearer. I think I was having issues with Lloyd Banks in other projects where I couldn't really hear him.
His voice was too gravelly.
It was muffled. I don't know what it was, but I actually heard the punchline. So I was really feeling, okay, PLK. I'm starting to read, so I think I had a better feeling about this project. Floor is yours, my guy.
So, all right. Previous projects, Lloyd Banks sounded a little more muffled.
Yeah.
His voice wasn't as clear. He wasn't as fluid, articulate with his words. So I'll give a check mark to that.
Okay, yeah.
But for me, what I was saying is, he reminds me, and there's two artists that he reminds me of now that I thought about it. I'm going to say Jay Mills and Dave East.
Okay.
All New York sound.
Yeah.
All guys that we thought were going to go.
Yeah.
And I think why I say that is their voices all changed over time.
Okay.
Dave East doesn't sound like the same Dave East we got when he started.
Granted, yeah.
Jay Mills does not sound like the same Jay Mills when he started.
No, like I can't tell you last time I heard Jay Mills.
Well, exactly.
Okay.
I'll liken it more to Dave East then. Dave East was that guy that we thought was going to carry New York on his back.
Yeah.
He had the Nas
cosign,
the
right?
big cosign, the big support from Nas.
Yeah.
It looked like he was going to go. But then his career kind of took a different turn where he didn't make those records that would get him to that next plateau. We thought he was going to take the torch and lead for New York. And a little bit like you can't be that. You could be an underground rapper, but you got to be able to make those crossover records. And I don't see it from either of them.
I agree with
Banks had that.
Yeah.
Banks had 50 behind them.
Yeah.
Banks got those records when it became time. Like I just watched a video where 50 was explaining that On Fire is basically Nelly's Hot in Here.
Yeah.
On the East Coast tip. They put it
down,
together like that. He was like, it's getting hot in here.
Yeah.
We on fire up in here. So like they kind of, you know what I mean?
So you say that, and as you're saying that, like I'm thinking about it in real time, and Lloyd Banks, you're saying hasn't been able to make that turn, but when he was with 50 and the Hunger for More 2, those are like considered some classic material. Like especially Hunger for More 1. Hunger for More 1 was a really good album but there was a little more songwriting. And again, maybe that's the 50 influence, which you don't have here, right?
That was what I was saying.
Yeah.
So the next point to what I was saying is the beats are okay, but you can't differentiate the songs as much. They don't have those classic choruses. They're not as big of songs.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's not reaching to get there anymore.
Well, I think what it is now is that without Fifth and the Monster, that's
found his lane.
G-Unit, he's focusing on his core audience. And they'll support him. Because I remember, if I remember correctly, maybe it was last year, Banks was talking about like
retiring.
Not even retiring, but his next project was going to be like $500. Like, and you can only buy it at one spot, and it was going to be on that Nipsey kind of tip where it's only his core audience is going to buy it. And again, you have 10,000 people that buy that. You're up. Versus, trying to get millions of streams that don't work for an artist of your caliber anymore.
He was so talented. He could make those records and still make them pop.
Yeah, but here's the thing. What's his nickname? PLK, right? The Punchline King. The Punchline guys, they kind of got like, if you weren't Lil Wayne, you kind of were like come mid-2000s or when autotune came in with Kanye and hip-hop you didn't necessarily need to be super lyrical. Those guys, if you weren't able to switch or pivot Because remember, Jeezy came out. Jeezy was he was an energy. Ye was energy.
Let's talk about
Wayne
that.
was just only the real bars man.
I had a theory about
that kind of like stayed.
So it's something we talked about many times.
Yeah.
Our generation of hip hop, New York, East Coast rappers, like let's say that 2001 to 2005.
Okay.
They kind of all just got swept under.
Yeah.
They didn't get to have a long career and really stay in the spotlight because that was the transition to the South.
Yeah.
So they lost a lot
But they didn't
of
adapt.
exposure and time. So like the Freeways, I'm talking about all of them, like
Yeah.
the Freeways, the Lloyd Bankses, the Joel Santanas. If they didn't catch on that wave fully, they're out of here.
And none of them did. It was like
They're out of here.
Jewels was messing with Wayne. You know, they Can't Feel My Face mixtapes, and he just like,
We
and
know
again,
what
their
happened to him.
trajectories
We know
were
what
there,
happened to
right?
him,
So,
yeah. But like, if you think about it, all those rappers that were in that wave,
Yeah.
in that little time period, that were like Billy Bathgates, like I'm talking about mixtape artists.
Yeah.
They didn't.
The smacking
They're kind of
crack-
gone
smack DVD era,
because they
like-
can't really charge that big money for a show. You know, I seen Freeway doing, and Freeway is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like I have Philadelphia Freeway on vinyl, but I seen him doing shows at a bowling alley. No disrespect to him. I don't know who his tour manager is, and maybe he doesn't know
They can
where
just
it
pull
is
it
and
up,
whatnot.
yeah, whatever
but
the case is.
it's, for us, we look at them like they're extreme superstars, but they don't have that fan base because the generation that's right under us, 2 and 3 years under us, they were already with the South.
Yeah, and again, if you didn't jump on that wave, which was, I guess, in hindsight, the downfall of even G Unit, like 50, man, 50 got the black because he kind of sounded Southern.
Yeah, he was Southern,
right? Like so, but he was from New York, and but he also had the beef with the Southern artists, especially when it came to to his artists not working with anybody but G Unit or New York artists.
He also had that machine behind him though, the West Coast. He had Dre in the scope, then Eminem.
But the thing is,
he capitalized as quick as he could though.
Yeah.
By 2008, 50 wasn't no rapper no more.
No.
Honestly,
I think he was done after that battle with Ye. I think it was after that. I think it was done after that.
What I'm talking about.
All right, so
in that same time frame, he was like, "Yo, I'm just gonna cut."
So think about, for me, Banks is always gonna get a listen. At the end of the day, because of what he's done.
His pedigree, those G-Unit freestyles are incredible.
I don't mind the pocket he's in. Go get your money if you have a core fan base. If you can muster up 10, 20, 30,000 people that will listen to your project on site, then I think you win.
You are now tuned into Blueprint Radio.